Welcome to A Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I'm Tom.
I am Dan. Samantha, our producer's here. Hello, Sam.
Hi.
Happy Monday, everybody.
Yep, Fringe Fest starts tomorrow.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
It's here.
So
It's
remember
happening.
to get your buttons, get all the tickets to your show at orlandofringe.org.
Yeah, for Orlando Fringe, if you don't know what that is, it's one of the most unique live theater, musical,
Any type
festival,
of art.
Yeah, any type of art, whether
got
it's like bands. We're going to talk to John from the El Camino School and also the Bloody Jug Band coming up very, very soon. Any type of artistic endeavor you can think of is plopping itself smack dab in the middle of Orlando on multiple venues through the 16th to the 29th. We're a part of it, getting the word out, and we'd love for you to check it out. Go to orlandofringe.org. Now, their website, you got to bear with it. You got to give it a second when you type that in because I think it's getting hammered. Very slow. But give it a second. It'll pop up, and you can go there and check it all out.
Yeah, and all the ticket money goes to the artist.
To the venue. I mean, to the artist.
Yeah.
They get the ability to put on these productions, a lot of them one-man shows, one-woman shows, that sort of thing. So, yes, when you are buying a ticket, just understand that the majority of that money is going right back into the artist's pocket.
All of it. Like Fringe doesn't take any portion, so it's that's why me and Daniel like it so much, is because it's a way for all these artists to put on shows and get paid 100% of the tickets.
Yeah.
So a couple things. Mother's Day was this weekend, and we
Yes.
hope everybody had a good Mother's Day.
I don't know what to do for that anymore because Andrea is just such a bitch. No, she's a great mom, a wonderful mom, and I don't know how to correctly celebrate her. So I just told her, you can have your day.
Yeah. It's really one of these things where
It's a made-up holiday, right?
Yeah,
Aren't there articles
well,
about
all
the lady
holidays
that
are
invented
made-up.
it, hated it? Isn't that
Yeah.
true? The lady that invented Mother's Day. I think you can look this
Is
up,
that
Sam.
true?
I think the lady that invented Mother's Day hated Mother's Day.
Why'd
It's
she
almost
invent
like
it?
Oppenheimer inventing the atomic bomb and then realizing you hate it so much. Yeah, I don't know. I think there is an old wives' tale or a legend that the woman who invented Mother's Day, possibly for Hallmark or for some sort of, company, ended up hating Mother's Day.
Well,
entirely.
Oh, she ended up hating how corporate it got. So she actually did want it to be a celebration and to honor mothers, but then
okay.
then like
That's fair.
big Hallmark or whatever
So it
turned
wasn't
it into something different.
So
yeah.
so it got ruined. Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
well, obviously, there's a lot of money to be made in flowers and cards and
Yeah.
all
Oh my
this kind of
God.
thing.
Well, I
no
don't
one-
Service
have-
industry.
I think I also, you know what? Let's
brunches.
Let's,
how much money does
Oh.
all the
Billion-dollar
local
brunch.
Mother's
Oh, I
Day
went to brunch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, see,
That's
I think that's maybe why I have a different approach. I'm probably the worst person to start talking about Mother's Day because my mom's dead. So, it's a little different for me. You know what I mean? It's harder, I think, for me to celebrate Mother's Day for Andrea, considering I don't have my mom anymore. And that's probably just natural.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
less of a day for me because I don't have a mom.
Yeah, well, if you don't have a mom,
Yeah,
then
it's less of a thing.
It's like Valentine's Day if you're single.
Right,
It's
yeah.
like you just move on.
And
I don't
again,
know. When you have kids, I think you
yeah, but she's not my mom.
right, but
And
she
that-
is a mom.
She is
Yeah.
a mom. But
You got to help the kids.
Supposed to be celebrating
figure- yeah.
everybody's moms, right?
And
And even if you're not a mom, I got wished Happy Mother's Day quite a bit this weekend.
yeah,
well,
yeah,
that's
yeah,
not
yeah.
fair. You don't have a kid.
I agree.
Yeah,
The-
don't do that. It's insulting to Sam. Leave your dirty wishes in your own mouth,
Um,
filthy animals.
I have 3 different moms in my life.
Oh, wow,
with
this
the
guy got
ups-
all the moms.
Right, he
humble
waits until
brag.
he
Wow.
loves until I
Right after
wait
he
until
said he
I
doesn't
say
have
that
a
my
mom.
mom is dead, and then you roll out the 3 mom Johnny. Over
Yeah.
here.
Only because Crystal's mom, my mom, and then Crystal's stepmom.
Yeah.
And
well,
then,
stepmoms, and they're listening. They don't count.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
guy's drowning in moms.
Stepmoms, no, they don't count.
Yeah, stepmoms just get a text, right? You don't have to give
You're
them an
just like,
actual gift.
You're still alive? Okay.
Yeah, maybe some.
People get so mad when I say that.
The flower delivery services.
Yeah. The best one is Book, and I missed the deadline for Book. So my wife was mad and didn't want me to buy any flowers. So
Well,
I screwed it all up.
You know what you could do nowadays is you could Uber Eats flowers.
If you do that, you're a
Uber
scumbag.
eat flowers.
If you
Yeah.
did you Uber
from
eat
Publix
flowers?
or like
Did you Uber eat flowers for your wife?
No,
'Cause
no,
that
but other people-
is terrible.
I've heard other people talk about it. Like it's cheaper than going through the standard flower delivery service or whatever.
Yeah.
Or maybe the standard flower delivery service started using like Uber drivers and like the
It's so
delivery service.
trashy.
I mean, who else? I mean,
No, I want the van that says, flower shop name on it. I want
It's
the
too
lady.
expensive.
It has to be a lady.
yeah.
I don't want a man delivering my flowers. Not a man's job.
You don't need that.
I need the full stereotype. White van, lady gets out, she brings it. She's like, "Are you?" And then sets it down. Yeah, I need that. I don't want some like fat Puerto Rican dad to get out with his Bluetooth still in his ear and he just hands it to me and then he's holding other bags of Whataburger and Pizza Hut and he's going to that's gross. These flowers smell like Whataburger.
So
Delicious.
Daniel, you were working on your scooter over the weekend.
Yeah.
What's the how?
Wait a minute.
What's
did,
the timeline
Did you
of this thing?
let Andrea have a day, or did you have a day?
I let Andrea have a day. No, I said Andrea and Maisie Andrea said I don't know what I want to do yet. Okay. That's what I got. I was like, do you want to go to theme parks? I don't know yet. Do you want to go to a water park? I do not know yet. I want to sleep in. Okay, I'll give you sleep in. I can give you sleep in. I got card. Me and May got a card. But other than that, it was pretty willy-nilly for the Dennises. There was nothing planned. Andrea didn't have anything planned, so we let her sleep in. And then they said they wanted to go get pedicures. So that was their Mother's Day thing. And they were like, do you want to come? And I was like, well, I do, but I could also work on the scooter and time's a wasting. I need to get cranking on this classic scooter electric motor rebuild. And so I decided to stay home.
How many massage places and pedicure
Slam.
places? Yeah, not only Slam, but how many gift cards never get redeemed in
A
those
lot.
places? Like
Gift card's a scam, right?
the dad panic and goes to the closest massage place or
Yeah.
whatever, gets the gift card, gives
He
it to the
doesn't even
wife.
check to see if it's an Asian massage.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And
Which is fine. It's just some of them are less reputable.
also some people not into the old massage. They feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
It is a
A
awkward
lot of people don't
experience.
like to be touched.
I don't think
Yeah.
my husband would ever get one.
Yeah.
Oh, he doesn't like to be touched by other humans. A lot of
Except
people
for
like
me.
that. A lot of people like that.
Well, but the whole thing you go through is a little awkward. With disrobing inside
Sure,
a
yeah.
place, and then
Yeah.
you're in this room.
They're rubbing your body.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're like kind of offering. It's
Here's
very.
my body.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Plus all the stigma around it. So many people
And
probably
then
get.
a lot of people are bad at it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
they
yeah.
grease
Oil
up
your
your
hair.
hair.
Yeah, yeah,
I bet there are plenty of men that don't fully understand it because it's nothing more than just like folklore in their brain, and then they go there, and just because of the folklore, awkward boner.
Yeah.
I bet
Yeah,
that happens
oh, yeah,
a lot.
yeah,
and then the
yeah, oh,
lady's
yeah.
like, "This is fine. It's fine. This
Yeah,
isn't
it
this
happens.
kind of
It's
place."
natural.
And they're like, oh my God! Don't get me arrested.
What's going on with your hands over there?
What do you mean?
You have tattered bandages all over
Oh,
your
yeah.
Well, he fought the Civil War over the weekend.
No, yeah. I destroyed them, and
Yeah, mine
I,
are pretty beat up. I just don't use bandages.
I was using a sawzall for all day.
He's trying to cut a trunk out of the.
And I was chopping wood, so it just
What is
destroyed
this,
my hands.
Yellowstone?
No, I was okay.
You and I had we were men this weekend. I'm wrenching on my scooter.
Yeah.
Getting filthy.
I
Drinking beer.
was mad that I was doing this wasn't. I didn't.
You
get
could
any
have had
enjoyment.
a fence
you
company
hated it.
and knock that out in about 2 hours. I feel like.
Yeah, $3,000
Yeah.
or whatever it was. And
Yeah, that's true.
Too cheap to pay the $3,000.
But you still spent money. I
But
mean,
now you've destroyed your hands.
300.
Like you okay? If
Yeah.
you'd have to add it up and let me see.
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
and time
But
spent.
what about the medical bills?
time spent, blood,
You need
and-
robot hands
and
now.
quality of job?
Well, that
Comes into play.
There's
quality.
no argument. Fence company could have done
Way better.
maybe an 85% better. version.
85?
Ooh.
Did
Yeah.
you do a terrible job?
I mean, it's up. It's fine.
up.
It's
But does it look like Dr. Seuss land? Is it all up and down? And,
yeah.
it's like an Art Deco.
you know what?
Is there any?
Okay, I'm gonna yell at the BDMs.
Okay.
So
enough.
I put a post up on the BDM page asking advice
Well,
about
you can't do that because you're a joke.
How
And they
yeah.
they just
But-
joked you down.
No, but I'll go to
All
what
of them were jokes.
No, there were some real ones, like 5 real ones, 80 jokes. But some of the real ones, okay, this is what makes me mad is, and I don't think people do this on purpose, but they see a situation and then they're like, "Oh, I know the answer. I'm gonna write the answer to the situation, but even though I'm just guessing and I haven't done it myself." So I'm just thinking this is the best answer, and so but I'm gonna write it as if this is the truth, and this
So
is
it's
the
like
way
you
to do
on the
it.
show.
Yeah. I realize how bad
We're
and
just
frustrating
like you,
this
Tom.
is. So I'll give an example. So
I don't fully understand what you're saying. So give me an example.
So I ripped off my fence because my neighbor's tree fell on it in a hurricane. So anyway, and they also removed a big ass tree that my fence.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
If it was their tree that ruined your fence, shouldn't they be responsible for replacing the fence?
Well, it was one of these things where, like, the tree branch fell from a hurricane. I think when that happens, plus it's an old piece of junk fence. So I'm like, I think is one of those things, act of God things that happen. Now,
But you don't believe in God, so how does that play out? If you don't believe in God, is there such a thing as act of God?
Like,
I feel like you shouldn't have to
I think
deal with it.
I've seen this before where if your neighbor's tree falls on your fence during a hurricane, it's not their fault. Basically,
It's a little bit of both.
It's your responsibility to fix it.
I think
now
you
if your
might be
neighbor,
right, but she could offer and say, like, "Hey, I'll give you
I think it's
$75."
their homeowner's insurance is supposed to pay for it.
Oh, that's only if the tree is like rotten and they neglected it and then it
Obviously,
fell because
they
of that,
weren't
like a
neglecting
storm.
it because
yeah, they could have trimmed it.
Well,
No.
but obviously, I would say they weren't neglecting it because they went on all the trouble to chop it down, which is going to be beneficial.
Well, after the
Right.
hurricanes,
Right.
So
you didn't have to pay for that, is my point.
And it was my neighbors are cool.
Yeah,
and
they're
it's
cool.
one of these things where I'm not going to be like pay for my. It doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
he's
I'm going to fix it.
lucky.
or
I'm not
whatever.
saying, be a D head to them,
No,
but
but
they
maybe
could have
get
saved
a-
your hands if their insurance would have just paid
well,
for
gloves,
the damage.
gloves could have saved his hands, but
Well,
I don't know.
it's not worth to claim a wooden fence on your insurance because first the deductible
$3,000.
is $3,000
nah,
anyway.
even
so
the whole fence is more than that, Sam.
with the deductible and all that, like wooden fences are not worth claiming your insurance.
Yeah,
Plus,
well,
you're gonna
regardless, you
Yeah.
needed to put up 5 panels.
but
a lot.
the other
It is a lot.
the tree that they removed was like my fence went around it, like they basically built around the tree.
Yeah.
which was
Instead of going through the tree
yeah.
or behind or in front of.
The tree was basically growing on the dead center of our property line.
Right, so they just went around it.
Yeah. So then, since they took it down and grinded the stump down, the neighbor was like, "Now you can run your fence straight. You could take some of your yard back, which is only like 2 feet or 3 feet or whatever."
Take your yard back, like that Scots. Have you seen that? It's like, take your yard back. That guy. It's a guy from Game of Thrones. He's doing the Scots yard commercials now. It's really sad.
So because the tree's in the middle of these 2 posts and the fence sections are 8 foot, the posts were 12 foot apart. So I had to put a post where that tree stump was. Right.
I like the idea of did you nail the stump or the post into the stump?
Well,
I'd like the idea of you notching the stump out and then sticking the post in the stump.
That's what I ended up doing.
Cool.
But wasn't that cool because
No,
I
think that sounds cool.
No, an insane amount of time.
Did you have to carve out the stump?
Yeah. Well, at first I used a drill and then I used a sawzall.
My sawzall.
Which your Daniel
How's it
sawzall.
doing? How's it doing?
It's still pretty good.
That thing's pretty awesome.
Yeah. I beat
like
it to
12
hell.
Mom,
though.
no sawzall.
Yeah,
I
that
beat
thing's
it to
12
hell.
years old. My mom loved that sawzall.
Plus my blades are not sharp,
Well,
so
you
it's
can
all
get new
smoking.
blades. Yeah, you can get new blades.
Oh, I
Don't
did.
blow the motor.
I went to Lowe's 5 times, back and forth. I was getting the wrong stuff.
You were the blade master.
And then so one BDM told me to get what basically like they sell these posts, like metal brackets that
Yeah, the
screw
little metal
onto the ground,
exactly.
and then are made.
And you set the post in it, and then you kind of hammer it on, right?
Yeah, you drill it down into. Now it's made for like I'm guessing like concrete decks or other place. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Something. I don't know if it's made for stumps.
I was gonna say
Yeah.
what happens when the stump rots?
Well, then it falls
well,
over.
he'll be dead by then.
Yeah, well, that's all right. I do a lot of things.
Everything is, when will I be dead?
Yeah. I always
That's
like,
fine.
I'll fix something. I'll be like, I'll be dead before this. You know, it's not that long. Like,
I do
you
that
know,
too.
Or I'm too old or not care anymore. Like 15 years for
Yeah.
me, I just assume I'll be dead.
Oh, we'll all be dead.
Anyway, I spent a tremendous amount of time
This
doing
is days.
this.
This is days.
No, it was just hours on Saturday, and then I drilled the lag bolt all the way down, and then I ratcheted it tight, and then as soon as I put the post on it, and then I screwed into the thing or whatever, it like the how heavy it was just started immediately lifting the lag bolt because the damn thing is into old stump.
No. You got to get those panels up
solid
quick
wood.
to hold the post
No,
up. It's
thing-
all held
it did a-
together by lies.
I
You
was
have
like,
to do it fast.
I pushed it down. I was like, God, I wasted all my time.
So
and
you
then
did all of that, and then the bolt broke?
well, it
It
just
just bent?
it just pulled out of the stump because it like
So how did you end up securing it?
well, that's what
Welcome back to How to Not Do Things with Tom and Dan.
Well, that's when I got mad at the BDM who suggested this idea, and the way he
There were
suggested
great
it.
suggestions on that thread, by the way. We'll get to my favorite.
You know what? Don't suggest something unless you've done it yourself and it's proven to
well,
work.
That's gonna make
Yeah.
the show.
Yeah. I'm going to yell at some
I-
people, too, Sam. We haven't even gotten to mine with my scooter and everybody giving me advice on cables.
Yeah,
we'll get
yeah.
there.
Oh.
Everybody's a goddamn mechanic.
Like I wanted to hear, like I want to
They're
hear from
also apparently all lizard pet owners because
Yeah.
they're all giving advice on how to take care
They
of
all
their
know
pet.
Luca the lizard. They all
Screaming
know
that he
you.
needs
You know what
sun.
I figured out is our audience is dumb as hell.
it.
You guys are so
No, no.
dumb. You think you're so awesome and you're so smart.
It's just
Dumb.
It's just because
All of you just as dumb as I am.
you know what the natural when someone asks for advice, you give it to them.
I don't.
And
People ask for advice on
yeah.
Facebook all the time. I look at it, I'm not giving that person.
You want to
advice.
help. You're like
I don't want to help.
You're like, okay, well maybe this will, but instead you should think if you haven't done it before and this is not a tried and true, like if you're not a fenceman and you come and encounter this multiple times a month and you're like, oh, we've done this 100 times. This is what you do. It works every time.
Right.
Then stop giving advice.
Would you accept this? Would you accept somebody saying, hey, I've never done this, but...
Yeah.
Would you accept that?
But don't even go.
So you're saying don't even type.
If you
Don't
haven't
post
done
anything.
it,
Then you like me because I'm that
Yeah,
guy.
yeah,
If
yeah.
I haven't done it, I just hold my tongue.
Anyway.
There's no need for me to say anything. In fact, did you notice I didn't comment one time? I did comment on the thread of you asking for assistance in the BDM group, but only to laugh at what I thought was the best suggestion, which was to bore into the stump 100 times with a long drill bit and then
then
soak it
burn
in
it out.
gas
Yeah,
for a
yeah.
day and then burn it for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Controlled burn for 3 weeks. You have to
Yeah.
stand by it.
This is a neighborhood in Castleberry. I'm using it
Yeah.
burning the stump. You know,
Like you're a Viking trying to clear land for a new settlement.
and then also, am I gonna leave and just let it burn
Yeah,
in the?
it's
in
fine.
It's
burning in the ground.
It's technically half in the neighbor's yard, so I'm like starting a fire in the
fine.
neighbor's yard.
You just push all
Act
the.
to God.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
Anyway, so burning it wasn't. So then I just started drilling it, and then using a sawzall, and that's what
Well, you're
ruined
just
my hands.
chopping it wildly, like.
No, I was just trying to chop out a hole so I could fit the post down in
That's
there.
what I would do.
I
took
just found the guy that
hours.
suggested your solution here, and he said it's not the correct way by any means, but I'm sure it might hold up for a while. LOL.
Okay.
That was his follow-up, so I don't know if you
No,
saw
wait, I
that
didn't
before
see
you
the
attempted
follow-up.
this.
Is the post straight?
Yeah. Well, I finally got it in there, and then I used a bunch of shims all around.
Oh,
like,
you're
jamming.
because the hole is it's walled out too big. I couldn't
hot
make it
glue.
accurate.
Put some hot glue in
I'm
there.
chopping it. My hands, my hands are. I ruined them.
Yeah, but you say that every weekend, and then you come in and you're like, I got to be better to my hands. And then tonight, this afternoon, he'll be out there again tonight, chop crazy with his rotten hands. He doesn't even care. He says, like right now, he's like, I ruined them. I got to be better to him. Tonight, he will chop them dead.
Yeah.
Because I can't not do it. I can't tell myself I can't do this for the rest of my life. Like I have, like what? I'm not going to admit that I just can't use my hands. I'm 41 years old. That's it. It's like,
You're
Well, if
41
you
no
keep,
more hands.
if
No
you
more
keep
hands.
doing stuff like this, that's what's gonna happen.
Yeah,
though.
you can't just power through. It's not like you're going to power through in one
Right.
day.
Power
Then it-
through.
You're
And
going to be
then
like,
they're just
oh,
gonna
they're
get better.
They're better now.
Well, they're not going to get better, but I'm not going to quit and just be like, well, I can't do these things anymore. I'm not going to quit. I'm going to keep doing it.
All right. That's fair.
But that's probably what leads it
Yeah.
to.
I
them
mean, one
being,
day you'll have no
messed up.
choice because one day you'll get out there and you'll go to pick something
We'll
up
just be stuck.
and nothing will work. And what are you going to do then? You
Yeah.
can't even kill yourself because your hands don't work.
When that day comes, I'll figure it out.
You're banging your head against the stall.
Anyway,
So you got it
was
up though,
miserable.
man.
Yeah, I got it up.
So did this allow Crystal to go and do mom things and or did you guys all go do something for
No, what?
Mother's Day?
Well, Max wasn't feeling good the whole weekend, so basically just stayed. We were gonna do
Yeah.
a pool day with my mom, but that kind of got canceled. And then we just Crystal went did some shopping errands, and then it was just a day at the house really, because the kids weren't feeling good. But anyway, so I just spent the day or the whole weekend fixing my fence and doing dad chores around the house.
I love dad chores. Something about fencing. It's like when I remember going out and fixing fences with my father. And you know what? Nothing has changed in fencing. You would think that there would be some
new technology.
Yeah, you'd think there'd be
same
some
old
garbage.
garbage.
It's the same old garbage. It really is.
Although I do, then at the end of the day, I pour myself a drink and then I just go and stand in the yard and then look at
it.
my work.
Yeah, I did
And
that with my scooter.
And then I'm just standing there
Yeah.
looking at it for like 10 minutes. I'll stand
Long
there
time.
and just stare at my and look around.
Yeah, you survey.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
what I
I'm
did on my
surveying.
scooter. I got a couple things done, and then you clean up, and then you walk back, and then you stare at it.
What is that?
A lot of
don't-
staring.
I mean, like with what I was doing, it was a lot of planning and a lot of reading. And what I'm finding with my scooter, and the biggest problem I'm having, is that nobody's done this. So I don't really have any guidelines to go on.
Yeah. You probably got to wing a bunch of stuff. right?
Yeah, it kind of sucks that way. Like, for instance, I'm taking off the front wheel because I have an 8-inch Vespa tire. It's a classic 1959 Vespa VBA. I have an 8-inch tire, and well, basically the rim is 8-inch, and I'm going from an 8-inch tire to an 8-inch size tire, but it's going to be a 10-inch tire.
Okay, yeah.
So it's a 10-inch tire, but the rim's still an 8, right? So I'm flipping that. Well, I can't get the god blessed tire off the front.
Okay.
I can't get it off.
Is it just bolted on?
Yeah, it's bolted on just like it, but it's a 2-piece tire. It's one of those like old school, like you got to take all the air out of it, pull the 2 pieces apart, pull the tube out, pull the tire off. I don't even know if I'm strong enough to do it.
Well,
I think I'm going to run it up to just a cycle place and get them to do it for me. I'm just
no, don't get them nothing.
Yeah, no, it's $5. It's $5.
Old monster hands over here.
Yeah,
Gonna
I'm
rip
not
it
going to do
off.
the monster hands method.
I'll go help you out.
No. You'll ruin it.
I'm not gonna ruin it.
You're gonna
I'll
ruin
do
it.
the same thing they will.
This
You
is
think
it.
those
No.
guys?
This is
I know those guys.
This is a classic.
They just
$5.
hammer on it.
No, I'm going to stand there with them and watch them. $5. I'll get
Well,
the.
what's stuck on it?
I can't get it off the. I can't get it off.
You can't get the
first.
bolt off.
No, I can't get the bolts are off. I can't get the tire off of the actual what do you call it? The spindle or whatever you want to call that. The axle.
So what is it? Just rusted on? Or
I have no idea.
Is it just is it like all the bolts are off and then it just won't pull off?
It just won't pull off.
Oh, you just gotta knock it.
I'm not knocking it. No, it's too old to knock.
Well,
I'm
you
not
knock it till
breaking
you
it.
gotta
tap
See,
it.
this is the
You
guy.
gotta tap
this,
it a couple
this is what
times.
would have
Now it's tap.
This is what would
Yeah,
have
that's
happened.
what they're gonna do. They're gonna tap the hell out of it.
Well, no, I'll get it off the bike, and then once I get it off the bike, I'm taking my time. I'm going to read about how to get it off of there. I'm not just going to go in there and start beating on it.
Well, I'll get it off. Let's go get it off right now. Launch.
Go-to show.
Look how crazy he is.
No, I'm
He
just
doesn't
saying,
want you to hire anyone.
Get
he
it done.
sees something he can destroy, and he wants to run over there and smash it.
I'm not destroying it. I'm just saying we'll get it off of there. We'll just
Yeah, but I'm going
tap
to
it
take.
off.
No, I'm going to take my
Wait a
time.
minute. Have you ever done this before, Tom?
No.
He doesn't know what he's
so
doing.
you're giving advice on something you've never
He
done
also
before.
destroyed. The
Well-
only thing he's ever worked on with me is my old lawnmower, and he destroyed it.
No, I didn't
He
destroy it. I
blew
just didn't
carb
fix
cleaner
it.
into it, and then he lit his cigarette lighter. The whole thing blew up in our faces, and then he's like, "Well, I got nothing," and left. Got in his truck and drove away.
And it didn't break it.
didn't
But
fix
I was
it,
also
though,
a younger
either. It
man
didn't
then.
fix
I've
it
learned
either.
a lot at my older age.
Well, like with this bike, I'm finding that the way to do it is to measure 1,000 times, read 1,000 times,
yeah.
Going
look
too slow.
and then cut or do things once. Like I'm working on these cables, and they're all in the neck of the bike. So I have to take my time in pulling them out of there because my hands aren't small enough to get through the head unit all the way down inside the bike. It's terrible.
I'll give you an example of doing things the wrong way. The post, the first time, because that BDM told me to anchor the post just straight to the stump, and then I cut the post to size before, and then I tried it didn't work, and then when I dug the hole and I put that same
It's
post
too
in too
small.
small,
Yeah.
and then
This is why I'm taking my time.
cursed and drove back to Lowe's mad, only to then drive back 2 more times because I'm just trying to get it done fast.
I can't, it freaks me out. And plus, with what I'm doing, I'm running new wires in the neck of this 1959 Vespa. I'm running a new throttle cable. That was the first one I got done, right? Well, the problem is the old throttle cable, you have to use, there's 2 parts to a cable. There's an outside part called the outer. There's an inside part, which is the actual cable. Mm-hmm. The reason there's 2 parts is that way you can pull the inner out and just replace that if it snaps. That way you don't have to rewire the entire bike anytime something breaks, right? It's pretty smart. Whoever thought of that, super clever system. So the outer, which is what I need, I can't find it. And it's so far in there that and you need like a headlamp to look down in there. It's so tiny. I don't know how people do this stuff. Like using coat hangers or wrenching with a little magnet. So I'm still in there trying to pull this cable up, and everybody online is telling me, oh, you got to do this, you got to do this. I was like, you don't understand. I can't even see the outer. I can't even see what I'm working on. Plus, the thing is so old, you only get a couple times of like the horn cover, stuff like that. You don't want to be taking that stuff off and putting it back on 100 times. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's so old. It's 64 years old. So everything on it's just a little weird.
Oh, I can't wait until you get a fast ass electric motor there.
Blow it to pieces.
You're out there, that thing is gonna go 80 miles an hour, rusty, 6-year-old.
I think that's what's gonna be funny.
God, it's got to
it.
be more than that. What?
1959, just 64 years old.
Okay, yeah. God damn.
Almost 65.
Yeah.
I
want you to finish it because I want to ride it and see.
I'm trying, but everything is greasy. Everything is old. Everything falls apart and disintegrates in my hands when I pull things apart. My hands are so cut up and disgusting. I have a funny story about the cable and fixing it, and I'll tell on the BDM show. But it's just too hard. And then I have a lot of instances where I have to stop, and then I look at it, and I almost want to cry because what I'm doing is so hard, and I can't do it because I'm not smart enough. You know what I mean? Do you ever get into any of those predicaments where you look at it? Have you looked at your fence at any point and looked and said, oh, my God, I should not have done this?
No, I just get mad that
I had a couple
I'm doing
of those.
it all wrong, and because I don't take any time. I mean, I'm eyeballing everything. I'm not measuring anything exact. I'm getting mad running to Lowe's, getting the stuff, running back.
See, I'm taking too much time. I'm the opposite.
Yeah.
I mean, that's taking a lot of time, multiple trips to
True.
Lowe's.
You're right, but I took all of Saturday to stare in that head unit. There's 2 little cams or little pulleys on the side, and I don't know how to get those off. So I unbolted them, but I don't know how to release them now. So I spent 4 hours just staring at it. You know what I mean?
That's too much. You're wasting
moving little parts, or using a screwdriver here to try and shimmy that out of here, or then trying to find multiple videos of it. Well, there's the problem. There's not one person on the planet that has a video of swapping the 2 cams in the inside of a 1959 Vespa VBA. There's not one person in the world that's done this.
Yeah,
I am
too
doing
rare.
something that no one's done. I am putting an electric engine in a 1959 VBA, or motor. It's not an engine, it's a motor. I don't think anybody's done this to a VBA yet. I may be the only one in existence.
You should do the video.
Well, isn't the,
I think I only got one set of hands. Amazing.
No,
gets
you
that
Set up a tripod.
Yeah. You set up. I've seen the things.
I'm with Tom on that, though. I don't have time to document this. I got to get this thing together.
What about you bought that electric motor from the company that does the old school scooter?
Yeah, so
things,
I took some pictures. So after we're done with work here, and I got some playtime, I'm gonna fire off an email to them with the pictures and say hey, got any ideas? They said they'd help. In fact, they're the type of company, they said, if you call us, we can Zoom with you or FaceTime and diagnose the problem. My anxiety will not allow me to do that yet.
Why?
I don't know. I don't want to FaceTime with people I don't know and diagnose the problem because I'm scared. I don't know. My anxiety's telling me I don't want to. I'm just giving you the honest answer. It's not a good answer. I don't know.
They want to help you.
I'm scared of everything.
Well, stop being scared of everything. They want to help
I'm
you.
scared of weird things, not everything.
Yeah.
I'll ride that scooter 65 years old at 80 miles an hour with no helmet on, but I don't want to FaceTime with the guys in England to help me take the 2 cams off in the head unit.
Is it because they'll know that you have no idea what you're doing?
That's
and
might
then
be.
you're-
I think that factors in.
But they know
That's
that.
an ego stinger.
That's why you're FaceTiming.
right. I didn't say it was making sense.
Yeah,
I just
yeah.
said it's there.
Well, that's you gotta be honest with be like, hey, I am a novice when it comes to I don't know what I'm doing. Like those the mechanics and people that are handy with us, they like when someone's trying to learn, so they like to help you.
You're making me feel better
Well,
about
no,
it.
I'm saying like in my experience, like because I ask for help a lot, obviously, and so anybody
the chat room I think nailed it. Crystal LaPiece, and I think you nailed it too. She said, "Are you afraid you won't be able to talk intellectually with the experts?" I mean, I know the parts, I know what they are, but I think the problem I'm having in that head unit, the two little cams I need to swap, because I need to swap them. One's long, one's small. They say if you swap the switching, the one that you use for gears, if you swap that with the throttle cable, that because it's a little bit longer, it gives a better pull on the retrostatic, the accelerator in the bike. They say it works better because it's just a little bit longer. I think when looking at it, there's one little tiny thing that I'm not doing to pull them off, and it's going to be one of those like, why'd you FaceTime? This is it took all of 3 seconds to show you that.
Oh, you're worried about your gas is off?
Yes. I'm worried about the petcock being turned. Yes, exactly. And
Well,
they're like, you're an idiot.
That's
I don't want to be
You haven't been
called that from
humiliated
across
enough.
the pond. I don't want.
You need to be humiliated all the time, and then you're never worried about being humiliated. I've been humiliated so
you've
much
been trained.
that like I'll be working on a 4-wheeler or whatever, and then be like, I don't know what the hell I'm doing right, and then some guy be like, your gas
gotta
is
put
off,
tires
you
on
idiot.
it, you idiot.
No. There's something like
Super
obvious.
easy.
And then that will make you learn that being humiliated is no big deal.
Yeah.
You just laugh along with them, be like, I am an idiot. Stupid.
I think it's
gas,
going to be something like that. I can't find any videos about it. It's hard. Like if you were wrenching on like a Honda Rebel from 1980, you would have every video in the world for anything you ever wanted. How to paint the gas tank, how to change anything in it, how to change the tires, how to polish it, how to clean it, how to keep it like ready to go.
Well, you're just at the beginning stage. In 5 years, there'll be 100 videos about how to do this.
Right.
But you're just doing it first. Like
Yep.
it's the same thing with getting your medical marijuana. Like anytime you do stuff first, there's no one to.
Or people have done it, they just didn't video it.
Yeah.
There's this old man though that did a series of videos that are pretty good. He just doesn't include everything.
Mm-hmm.
He's like this guy out of Southern California, and he put in 2 of these electric motor kits into 2 classic Vespas. But he shows you the aftermath. He doesn't really detail
step
what
by
he's
step.
doing, so I might hit him up too.
It's
just like, hey, how'd you do this?
I wonder if people get some sort of a relationship with the people they watch constantly on how-to videos, because there was this one guy. Because every year in my old mildew boat, I would have to change the oil.
Yeah.
And
I remember you telling me about this.
And also the gear lube. And I would watch this. And like there was a guy, this old man, who made a how-to video how to change the oil in the gear lube. And because I'd forget, I do it once a year or whatever, once every year and a half.
Yeah.
And then I go back to the same video, and over 8 or 9 years of owning the boat, I just get to know the old man.
It's like the deaf guy that changes the oil on my Honda Ruckus. There's this deaf guy that does videos on YouTube. They're the best how-to videos because he doesn't talk. He just shows you what to do. And he's like a cool surfer guy, but he is the best how-to Honda Ruckus videos out there.
And I
have a relationship with him. I love that deaf guy.
You go back
He's
to the
awesome.
same how-to video. The guy.
I have a bookmark.
He just and then and then you look down and this video's got 80,000 views.
Yeah.
And it's just like some old man set up his iPhone.
Yeah.
And then it's not edited or anything.
No.
It just goes through real
Those
time.
are the best ones. Those are the best ones. You fast forward through.
Yeah.
The ones that are edited, they don't leave the parts you need.
And I'm like, the old man decided to put some information out on the internet, and 80,000 people have been watching the same video because they have the same boat on how to change the oil in the gear lube.
Oh, this old man, though, too. And then I see glimmers of this, and I'm like, oh, my God, this is you. Like, this old man's doing a video of these 2 electric motor conversion kits, and he's, showing you how to do stuff. And he'll be more concerned about his pee-pee dog in the background, his shop dog walking around. He's like, oh, there's Maggie walking around over there. There she is. Okay, let's get back to what we're doing. I like those kind of videos. Yeah, I have a couple of guys I go to, but yeah, so I've reached a part of this particular build where I don't know what I'm doing, so it looks like I'm gonna have to call the guys in England and
Yeah.
have them shame me
Just
into.
don't take it anywhere because you started this by yourself. You got to finish it by yourself.
No, that I am a believer in. That I am a believer. Now I
Because
thought
there's no time frame. It's not like you have to
No.
get it done. And you got time. So you might as well do it yourself. It's going to be more.
It is rewarding
fulfilling.
when you get things done. Yeah, I will say it's really disgusting though, man. The more I wrench on that thing and take it apart, the more I see how dirty it is. Basically, 65 years of some. I mean, not 65. I'd say probably it got ridden hard for a solid 20 years, and then basically kept for 20.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like I haven't ridden it hard.
So it's just it's old.
Yeah, it's
you know,
old,
and then
man.
you're dealing with like anything classic like that. It's just going to be constantly in a state of falling apart, right?
Well, it's like I will say though, it's tried and true. Like a lot of the little parts on this are so simple. Like I've noticed that there's no clips. You know,
there's no plastic.
Yeah, there's no
It's all
plastic.
metal.
So every every new car, especially my Tesla, that thing is just held together by plastic and little clips. And it's really kind of sad when you look at it. You know, like this thing, like it'll have big like the headlight, for instance. The headlight housing on the thing, like you take it off and pull it off, it's like 5 pounds.
Yeah,
you could kill somebody with the headlight housing. The interior of it is all real, and it's that ugly, like real glass, thick, ugly real glass. You know, and then it's like kind of coated, and you could see like some of the coating that they put in there to make it reflect light is kind of peeling off. Those are the things that make it look cool. But I've noticed that it's like very easy. It's like 2 screws will hold that together. That's it.
Yeah.
Like I think 2 screws is easier than like 40 clips, right? Just not cost-wise, I guess.
Yeah. Everything is now built from garbage, plastic, and
I hate it.
it's
Little aluminum
as
clips.
cheap as
Oh,
possible.
it's so terrible.
And
They break as soon as you peel like clips in cars. If anything moves, you can't clip it back in.
Future humans they'll be digging through kind of like we do with archaeologists. They'll like, oh, this is when the dinosaurs lived, and like this is they could tell by the layers. They'll be able to tell by the layers of our garbage when we got into plastics, and they're like, oh, this is the plastic years.
Yeah.
And
A lot of plastic years.
Real sad.
And then because I imagine hopefully that we evolve out of the plastic, or
Yeah.
what I'm saying, we just realize like, oh, we made a mistake. Like this has ruined a lot of the stuff. And
Yeah.
then, there'll be that is like, oh, here's when they made, they started utilizing metals a lot. You
Well,
know,
like I took out the old throttle cable and I was like looking at it, and I would like to think that somebody changed that it's sometime in 65 years. I'm imagining somebody did along the line, but not too many times. And you look at it, and it's been used for 65 years. You're looking at it, and you're like, it's held up pretty damn good. Like it's not bad shape.
yeah, it's just steel,
Yeah.
woven steel.
Yeah, just like stamped. They had those, the unibody construction, almost like what they're doing with Teslas now, or trying to do with the Cybertruck. Where they're like stamping the metal out. That's all they did for Vespas. They like stamp the whole thing, and it'd be like in that clamshell, and then that's part of it. Send it on down the line. But anyway, we got to take a break.
Yeah. Before we take a break, Sam, I know you mentioned that you're out in Titusville, and just the amount you can get in Titusville as opposed to.
Do they call it tight assville ever?
Like
I don't think so.
just
I haven't
right?
heard that.
There should be a
For
sticker
T-ville.
that says tight assville.
and like anytime you start moving away from cities, you can get a lot more bang for your buck when it comes to
man.
housing and all the amenities you get and stuff, just
Big boy
because
house.
it's less sought after location, and it tells me like if you don't have to work, we said this a million times, but if you don't have to work near where you live, then you're just gonna, why a lot of people do this. I've said this in like even friends of mine who live in Miami. Now their family is there and stuff. So, but if you're not into boating and or the Miami lifestyle, why are you paying the Miami prices?
Right.
It's the same thing
True.
for Orlando. If you don't, if you live in Winter Park and you don't work in Winter Park, you don't need to live in Winter Park. You could probably get a 5 times bigger house out in the middle of nowhere. Now you're further away, but like the amount you could, like your standard of living and what you can pay for, like really goes up.
It depends on what you value, right?
Yeah,
like
yeah,
I
yeah.
had some friends that earlier on, like I think remember when everybody was, and this is what eventually became the mortgage crisis around the '07s or whatever. But do you remember when everybody was refining and getting money out of their homes and just like taking advantage of that? I had a lot of friends that were living in Orlando but decided that they were going to sell their houses here, liquidate, take a ton of money out, and then buy these like McMansions in Apopka. But they were, I mean, humongous. I mean, huge house, like houses you had no business living in, you know, like, why do you have this? Why do you, but I mean, if you can get it, you know, I mean, at the time, it's what people did. Now, most of those people ended up foreclosing on them later, but, you know.
Yeah, it just, it makes sense. I saw, the Crystal showed me some house out in Claremont on a lake. It was like 2-story house, like on 4 acres of property, you know, like a huge, like a shoreline.
You could make your own dirt bike track out there, dude.
But it was like $600,000. And then I was like, man.
Yeah.
You know, for a 2-story house, I think it was, you know.
Look at Buckethead's house.
2,500 square feet.
Buckethead's moving out to San Jose. He's selling his house in Georgia because he's not going to work in Atlanta. And I don't think he's not all podcast anymore. He's back in the radio game. But he sold his house and it was $900,000 and it had every amenity you could ever think of.
Yeah. Although, I mean, I don't know where in Georgia. You know, it depends on.
It's right outside Atlanta. So, I mean, still it's like in that area where you can still get a lot of house. But I guess, you know, you're able to commute.
Yeah. It's just like
I'll never leave because of my wife, because she likes the schools. She likes the
that's
convenience of where we live.
Yeah,
I'll probably never get a pool. I'll probably never get a house.
If you got kids and you're already in the school system where then you're stuck where you are.
Yeah,
but I'm saying a lot of people that like I think they live where they are just because that's where they and they probably haven't looked at
right.
like, man, how much bigger of a house or more property or like
even out of Florida, some people.
You know, what could my quality of life be if I just moved out of the city? If you're not utilizing, like, you know, you're not going downtown a lot, or like you know what I'm saying. If you're just living a normal life, you go to Publix and then like do the standard. Then it's like, well, you could do that.
It's like paying for a luxury apartment downtown, and you're like, and you work out in the in the boonies.
And
you know?
20 miles away, you can get a double the size of house, and then all the less bills.
I dream about it sometimes, but you know what? I kind of, as much as I don't really do much, I like being around where things are happening.
But are you utilizing?
No, I'm not. But I like to be around here.
I
like the vibe.
Yeah. Well, you know,
I like that there are people around me. It's like it makes me feel better to know there are cars and people around. Now, some people are the exact opposite, where they like, I don't want to see anybody. I just want to be alone in my home, and I want to look out my window and not see any other houses.
Yeah. But you could look out your window. I mean, there's places that are. It's like you don't have to live in the middle of the woods.
No,
but it's like in small towns outside of big cities. They got a Publix, they got a Walmart.
When are you going to do the Mr. Beast and buy us all houses on the same street?
I don't have any money.
Let's train our bank
Get
account.
to work.
Can we do tiny houses?
No. Can't get you. Nothing in Florida. Everything's 300,000.
I'd like to see Mr. Beast standing completely naked in front of me.
Oh.
Just to kind of size him up.
I can imagine what it is.
Big beast. Big beast.
No, just regular
Tiny
little beast.
Little North Carolina.
Just a regular white dude.
Yeah.
You know. All right, we'll be right back.
What's up, dude?
Hey, how's it going, dude?
Save this guy. Where's that guy, Sam?
That is Monday 1 and 2.
We already come grab a seat. Good to see you, man.
Hello.
So what was the most magical thing you saw on your vacation?
Probably the Grand Canyon.
Yeah.
I gotta use the restroom real fast.
How much hiking did you? I mean, was it the terrain tough?
A couple of them, but there's so many trails out there that we just looked for like the moderate ones. But yeah, one of them was like got really steep, and I was like, I'm not going up any further.
I'm trying to take my mother on the trip.
There's easy trails out there.
She like wants to go to Tombstone. I don't want to do that. I want to do it. Yeah, I want to go kind of the spiritual, go up into caverns and do certain things. But when you see all that, it's like, how rocky is that? You know, she's a little bit not limited.
I will say all the ones we did not have any like safety things at all. Like some places they'll have like the chains and stuff. They don't have any of that. So get some hiking sticks. Take the easy routes.
Am I using this one?
Yeah.
And we've got Tuesday 3 done, right?
Yes, Tuesday 3 is a 20-minute.
Okay, so we'll do this as Tuesday 4.
I don't know what happened with old Jay Navarro.
Yeah, it should have foreseen since we had extra time this morning, and then I was like, oh, I'll actually do some research on Jay.
Mm-hmm.
And then
The one time you do research.
I wanted to talk to him about that Tony Hawk, because it's just such a unique thing that all those bands experience with being in that game. Yeah. Yep. Help yourself, dude.
It is mildly distracting to see all the people walk by the window. But I think Luca likes it.
I don't know.
What's that?
I think if he wanted light, he can go over to the window on the weekend and stuff, right? Or should we leave it open on the weekend? I don't know. Does it need a certain amount of daylight?
Gets its vitamin D. Let's do it.
Where's this go?
This will be Tuesday 4.
Tuesday 4. Make sure John's camera looks good. It does. Your beard looks awesome as usual. All right, Mr. Van. Oh, let me turn your mic on. That could help.
Check.
Gotta have that going. All right, Mr. Van.
Yep.
Here we go. You want me to start?
Sure.
3. Is coming back, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
3, 2. Welcome back to A Corporate Time.
Our buddy John's here from the El Camino School and also the Bloody Jug Band, who's playing at Fringe on May 29th, kind of for the closing ceremonies of Fringe.
Yeah.
How you doing, John?
I'm wonderful. Thanks for having me.
So
Thanks for being here, man. Congrats on the Fringe gig. Have you played there before?
Yeah, about 10 years in a row. And Bloody Jug Band just came out with a new album on Saturday. So this last weekend. So new album. And we're closing. They couldn't find a spot for us at Fringe. So they said, why don't you just close it out for us?
That's awesome, though, man. Congrats on the album, too.
Yeah,
really,
thank you
you've
so
been
much.
busting your hump lately. Well, we'll get to that, too.
How, for Fringe, how'd you get involved with Fringe to begin with?
I think that the nature of the band just being a little bit more theatrical than a lot of other bands locally. You know, I think that originally that was, they were trying to do the music. So I think we got onto the ground floor of kind of the outdoor stage vibe. And we've just stuck with them through all these years. And every year it comes around and we're excited to be a part of it.
Awesome. So, John, let's talk about El Camino School, because I know you got a fundraiser that is currently available, correct?
Correct.
And where can people find it?
We have a GoFundMe campaign. The best way to find us, either to go to our social media or go to GoFundMe and type in El Camino School and it pops up. The link is a little too convoluted, but if you go to GoFundMe, we have a campaign called Help Fund the Future of El Camino School.
So let's talk about that, because I know, John, you've been coming on the show for a while now. We've been promoting El Camino School because me and Daniel and Sam were like, this is a cool, thing that you've started.
Well, we believe in it. You know, like the concept of it is such a good idea.
Yeah. Plus, I like alternative forms of education and having the most options available for people, because it's a business that most people, it seems like they don't start, because other companies have either like the monopoly in that, or maybe it is hard. It's difficult to establish yourself. Like, so let's just talk about like some of the struggles El Camino School's gone through, your personal struggles with it, even starting a business like that. To me,
so hard.
It's really difficult. So let's talk about it. Like when you started it, what have you learned since?
Well, what have I learned? To not open a independent school, trade school, without investors or government funding.
Right.
you
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
Well, this is all on you.
Yeah, trying to bootstrap a school is a modest effort at best, But for those that are listening, El Camino School, it's a music and technology based trade school located here in Central Florida in the Mills 50 district. Last time I was on the show, we had just recently moved to the Mills 50 district.
Yeah.
We train guitar technicians and we deepen people's appreciation for their instrument. So we have a 10-week trade program, which what we're talking about is, a college alternative or a different form of education. So we have a 10-week trade program where we graduate guitar technicians to the industry. And we have weekend courses where we can teach somebody to set up their guitar, to build a guitar, and really just kind of smarten people up a little bit more. There's a lot of players out there, but a lot of reason we started the school, there's so many people that play instruments, but they don't know how it works, why it works. Gosh, something broke. I don't know what it's like Dan with his bike. I don't know what to do, and a lot of people do search for things on YouTube, and it's always not the most efficient way to learn, especially when you're trying to do hands-on. Some of the hurdles, I've talked on here before. We opened 5 months before COVID hit, which is when we were trying to trend the hands-on learning in person. That kind of
But put a damper on the initial.
Launching of the
Long,
school.
yeah. It's like, I've seen it. We all did, like a restaurant that just grand opening, and then a month later, COVID, and you're like, oh man,
because nobody knew. It was unprecedented. It never happened.
And I think that a lot of times, especially with this fundraiser, people can criticize, people who ask for help in that regard. But, to overcome the hurdles, it's not like, we just drove our business into the ground. We had a lot of circumstances that kind of led us to where we're at right now. We've also had a lot of great successes. I mean, in the midst of all that, we just graduated our last semester of students a few weeks ago. One of the students was all the way from California. Another one was from Colorado. The gentleman who graduated from California went back and just got a job at Rickenbacker. So within 2 weeks of him graduating, he's already fulfilling his career and doing the things that we set out to train them on. And so our students, obviously sing our praises. They're the kind of the proof of concept in that regard. But, along the way, 3 months after we graduated our very first semester, so we got out of the COVID deal, graduated our first semester of students. We're doing it. And then my main instructor, master instructor, John Rainey, passed away to COVID-related illnesses. So, we got to reset. Okay. We're going to keep fighting. And then at the end of last year, our landlord, we used to have a larger facility over on Edgewater, and our landlord came to us and said, man, it's super awesome that you guys are here and you fixed our building up and you've invested all this. It was a copy repair place that we turned into a world-class facility. We love what you've done to our space. It would be a lot cooler if you weren't here because we could charge more money to the next tenant. And so that was a very unexpected thing where we were starting to fill up all of our classes and do a lot of things. Next thing you know, we have to cancel our fall semester and we have to spend, not that, people listening, just so you know that I'm personally invested. Had to refinance my house just to pay for the move over to the Mills 50 district and then start all over in a new location. Luckily, the 3 years prior have built a lot of momentum for us. And so we were able to keep, and I think Mills 50 strategically is a better spot for us anyway. Less overhead, a smaller facility. Now we're not doing a lot of the other things we were doing to fill up space, like lessons and things like that. We're solely focused on our trade programs, which is what we started the school to be.
Streamlined it a bit.
But we end up in a situation where, we're looking to the fall. We have the fall semester where we are literally turning people away to the fall semester. We're first time ever we're going to have basically a full class and a full semester full of students.
Nice.
But we've kind of hit a financial bottleneck here where these debt and related things and these hurdles of the past have kind of choked out where we're at right now. As we said earlier, we're not in a position, we're not government funded. And even something that people, of course, always go like, oh, did you get some SBA money? Well, we really weren't able to get SBA money because since we opened up so shortly after or before the pandemic, the big thing was to show a decrease in business. You have to show that 20% decrease. Right. Well, when you're just in the steps of building, you're increasing. You're in the creasing, not in the decreasing.
Yeah.
It was very hard to show or for them to support that.
It's like getting credit with no credit. It's like
right. Or we're on a line and they go, hey, we don't have faith that you can pay this back. We are on another line for another big SBA thing. But since I don't take a paycheck, They go, well, we love the business, we see the need, but with you not taking that paycheck, very hard for us to have ability to know that you're going to pay it back. When it's like, well, oh yeah, but all the money's going back into the business. So it's just hurdles. It's not about complaining, because it's ultimately, we are very proud. I mean, literally, to air my students' things, I have students that literally break down, crying at the graduation because of the impact that we've made on their lives. And that might sound silly to you guys or a listener going, this guy went to a 10-week trade school and he changed his life. But that's ultimately why we created the school, to empower people. And when it works, you go, wow, this is why we need to keep going in our community and to bring people into Central Florida from all across the country. I just talked to a guy the other day all the way from Hawaii, who I thought California was going to be as far as we could get a student from. And now I got a guy interested from Honolulu. So we do have something that nobody else is offering in the country. We have a very specific program. And the proof is in the output of what we're doing. But due to organic growth, marketing dollars, and hurdles, you got to keep all those things in play to make a business work.
So a couple things. First, if you ever want to get a loan, just make the numbers to work what they need for the loan. And then when you turn the paperwork in, then you get scared. You're like, I think I've committed a felony.
Yeah.
I think people go to jail for this.
I've done that on every, where they on any form they ask you,
I hope no one ever looks at this in some sort of investigation, because I will go to jail.
They ask me what I make, on any form for anything, and I always put a lot, a lot, because I'm too afraid to tell the truth.
Anyway,
I don't want to be made fun of.
So also, John, what's the stress like? Because and do you tell other people?
Are you instructing too, or are you just managing at this point?
Because this is a lot of times.
I don't think I could instruct if I was that stressed out, right? I think I'd be like, oh my God.
Anybody who's...
My butt's always clenched.
Right. It's hard, man.
Never started a small business or a
project
project
we've had a couple things in here that John would look at us and be like, oh, I know that feeling. Times in here when you and I, I go and I lock the door and we both go sit on the couch and we're like, oh my God, this is not good. What are we going to do? What are we going to do? What are we going to do? That's a real thing in small business land.
And what's funny is that a lot of people don't realize that they're like, oh, well, this is the way you do it, and this is you have to do it this way. But you're like, yeah, that's the way a corporation does it, with 30 people working on all these,
with 3 other companies propping it up because of their money.
There's a buy the book, but when you're doing yourself or you're a small mom and pop business,
there's no investor there.
You're wearing too many hats and you're doing too much, and then it's if on paper, should you know every exact number and all your expenses, but you can't do that.
I feel like you're defending me and you right now.
You're trying to do too much.
That? He's defending us in front of you.
And then a lot of it's improv and just trying to get by to the next.
We do a lot of improv. You do a lot of improv too.
Well, so Dan, to answer your question, so I'm the president and owner of the school, so I focus on the marketing and the relationships, and we have some great instructors. So I'm ultimately not qualified. I'm a singer and washboard player in the Bloody Jug Band, so that's not. That doesn't allow me the skills to do all the things. I mean, we have great instructors, world-class instructors. So I let the people that have the skills teach the courses. I'm more in the relationship building, coming and BSing with you guys. I will say that starting your own business in this way is the #1 cause of erectile dysfunction. But no, it is stressful, but it's less about personal stress, and it's more about just believing in the vision. And man, if we could do this much with this, and look at the impact we've been able to make in our community. And I think that was one of the problems we got in originally. We were trying to save the world right from the get-go, trying to help our community right from the get-go, and we had not built a foundation yet for ourselves.
Gotcha.
And some smart investor said, man, you can't save the world until you can save yourself in that regard. So we streamlined things. We got back to the business at hand, but hurdle. Again, the business is running just fine. The students and the output, the experiences we're creating are great. But when you start dealing with financial, you still have to, back when I used to fundraise for the arts, I would go, man, you call your Progress Energy up and you tell them about all the songs you wrote and all the great creativity and all the impact you made and all the people you mentored, and they go, great, pay the bill by the end of the month. Creativity and empowerment does not translate, maybe karmically it does, but it does not translate monetarily always, when you do good by somebody and then that bill is still due at the end of the month.
Sure.
How good can you get at the washboard? When you said
Okay,
that,
that's a random. I don't know. I like that.
Well,
I look at the one we have on our wall every day when I go to the bathroom, and I always want to get it down, but then I'm like,
It was gifted to you many years ago.
yeah,
at this
I love
point.
that thing.
Like, is there? I mean, we may have talked to you about this before, but is there someone that's considered to be the best
king
washboard
of the
player
Jordan?
And is he doing things that you can't? Like, oh yeah,
Like, oh my god,
this like what?
like how many
how
edges?
does that work?
How many edges you running on that
Yeah,
thing?
yeah,
I
yeah.
got a 70.
Well, the only reason
edge.
I started playing the washboard is because I thought, well, I'm a moderate guitar player, but if I really put my time into be the best guitar player I can be, I can still be maybe 7 millionth best guitar player on earth.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I thought, but if I could pick up the washboard, I think there's only 10 living washboard players on earth right now. I'm instantly top 10, you know? And so somebody I look up to that regard, Washboard Breezy, she plays in Reverend Peyton's Big Damn Band, and she is the woman, that band, and her washboard playing is back in the early 2000s, somebody who inspired me to pick up the washboard.
Yeah.
When it comes to who's the best washboard player in the world, because I don't know that many, I'm just going to say me because I think it makes it better as a guest for you all to have.
Yeah, people are throwing the name in there, Breezy Peyton.
I'm probably the only in the world's only lead singer and washboard player. So doing the double duty of playing the washboard, kind of juggling all those things. But yeah, Washboard Breezy, shout out to them. We've played with Reverend Peyton many, many times. But I try to run in a smaller, big fish in a very small pond.
But
is there an electric washboard?
You can, we mic ours. I know that the guy years ago, North Mississippi All-Stars used to kind of put a wah pedal on his or something, but we've tried pickups. They don't quite, they don't pick up as well. So I put an instrument mic on mine so it picks it up a little truer to like a trumpet mic or something like that.
That's cool, man. What, you thinking of starting a band?
no
Rival washboard player?
I just wondered if there was some sort of technique. Because if
you
people
can
are
put
looking
things
at
on
it,
your hands, right? You put thimbles.
I think
or-
traditionally, so a Zydeco washboard player or a traditional washboard player would play spoons and play with spoons on there and rake it on that. I play with shotgun shells and thimbles.
Okay.
On
Ooh,
mine,
shotgun shells. That's I've
really got bad hands as far as carpal tunnel.
So
kind of
does
thing.
Tom. My God.
So sitting there
you should come help him build his fence.
Yeah, so sitting there holding a spoon for 4 hours or whatever,
Right.
that's probably you get a lot of pinching. So,
Yeah.
so I use cut off shotgun shells and thimbles to play.
You should use that when you feed the gecko.
Do people think it's
love it.
easier than it? Because why I'm even mentioning this is because I see Steve Martin picking his banjo, right?
Yeah.
And then I'm like, just what he's doing
With their
with
patterns,
his-
he's rolling. and
Yeah.
he's-
That is like I would like look at that. I'm like that would take me 10,000 hours.
I don't think you could do it.
I could,
yeah,
but
you don't have the finesse of your fingers.
But even if I did, I look at that, I'm like, that took some practice time, right?
Yeah.
Because of just
Very precise.
The way he's picking the banjo is very specific, and just learning that motion and that rhythm is a lot of hours.
Yeah.
So with washboard, what I'm asking is how hard is it? Because I think it's easy, and I think
All
I
right.
could do it.
Yeah, this is your. Yeah.
But I know I can't. Because
No, you could. I think you could.
but if I could do it, it's too easy, right?
Well, but I think that's what he's saying. He sings too.
Well, I
yeah,
think
that
that
I get.
initially it took some figuring out. Luckily, I played more rhythm guitar, so if you're thinking about playing a rhythm guitar,
Yeah.
you're already kind of facing it against you, so it kind of worked for me that way. Learning to sing and play the washboard was its own hurdle, but we just had in March, our 14th year anniversary as the Bloody Jug Band.
Congrats, man.
So thank you so much. But so to look back, I can't tell you how good or bad it was 14 years ago. I probably thought everybody could do it, and I was probably faking it till I made it. 14 years in, I have had other drummers, great drummers in town that are great percussionists, and they've just picked it up, going, I can show that, let me do this, and they find out very quickly that maybe it's not as easy as it looks.
Okay,
but
I think there's a finesse to it because again,
So what are you
you don't
doing?
want to
But I think it's-
overplay it. He's got some touch with it. I have a feeling. Plus, he's singing, so he's got to balance the dynamics of what he's playing with his voice.
It's very hard to harmonize. Very hard to harmonize with a piece of metal. At least in a guitar, it
Yeah,
creates
it's a rough noise.
It creates a tone, and so. But I'm not going to say it's as hard as drumming or those other things because I'm
Yeah.
only using 2 limbs. But I'm doing a lot.
Drumming
so,
and singing is hard. I always thought that was
really.
really hard. I'm not good at it. I can do it, but man, it really. I got to think about it.
You got to think about it, and then I think anything is, regardless of guitar playing or anything, to get good enough at something to be able to lead a large band, perform the songs, be dynamic for an audience, hit the cues, play in time, create the accents. To do all that, there's a lot of things working
And you guys
in tandem.
have like a theatrical kind of a look. I mean, you guys have a vibe.
Well, we definitely are high energy.
Yeah.
We're not as costumey as we once were. We kind of got that out of our system. Never did the face paint gimmick, but the idea of it making it easy, looking easy to somebody else. It's like that. That's that 10,000 hours of putting that time in. And, it's hard to be kind of objective in your own, skill set. It's like running the school. I guess I didn't ask other people. I probably might not have opened a school if I asked other people who, how hard is this going to be?
Right.
How
the
do
washboard is the school.
Yeah. How do you do this? And so
Yeah.
it seemed like a good idea. And just like with the band and the school, I'm still here 14 years in the band and about 4 years, just about to hit in October, our 4th year anniversary at the school. Heaven asked us that we make it that far. But it's one of those things that it's hard to distance yourself to see all the difference. Sometimes we sit around and go, God, are we a success? Or how, are we really doing something? And then you kind of turn around and see the path that you've been on.
Yeah.
And you realize, wow, I've come so far. So to go from day one of the school to day, even though we are sitting here going, hey, please help us. We do have this fundraiser and it would be, we need the community support. It's not sexy to Shark Tank investors. These other things, we're asking for this. But when we do look back and, at nighttime when I'm beating myself up or we're stressed, to look at the experiences, to look at the things that we've created, be it both in the band and the school, you realize, man, we've come so far. I guess you pray you don't have as far to go.
Right.
That's what sucks about all this and everything in life is it just takes so much GD time to do.
You got to head down and just keep doing it.
It's like, they tell you, you're like, oh, yeah, you have a small business or whatever you do. Is like, you're not going to figure it out until like 5 years in or something. And I'm like, I've always heard those things,
I haven't
and I'm
figured
like,
out
5
anything yet.
years?
Yeah, I was like,
but I'm like,
we've been longer
it took
than 5,
2
and
times.
I'm like, God, I got nothing.
But then in retrospect, we start looking at like even this podcast business. It didn't really start to click until like 8 years into it or whatever it was. And and then you're like, oh yeah, they're right about.
And even
what
then,
they
it
say.
can unclick anytime it wants. I mean, that's a thing.
No, but it just does take an insane amount of time for most things, and even like with marketing the El Camino School and stuff, like getting the word out, it takes time, and then like with anything, like time. After years and years and years, then you soon start to figure it out. But without that, there's no substitute. It's like you couldn't figure it out in 6 months.
Well, I had a guy the other day that I was watching Shark Tank, and that's what he was like, well, what's your marketing budget for a month? And he was like, I don't know, about $15,000 a month I put towards marketing. It's like, that's my marketing budget for the entire year. You know what I mean? So, so it's great that you've been able to put that in and inject that. And so a lot of businesses have maybe a stronger financial base when they're starting, but we always knew that it was going to be organic and that it was going to take time. Again, the things that we didn't anticipate were some of these, these other hurdles that were really had no bearing on our success or not. As far as we didn't create these problems, but we had to unfortunately deal with the problems and be able to keep our head on our shoulders and keep going. Because I think that's another thing that I always look for, and out of this fundraising campaign, a lot of people that have done this before or have had successful businesses. I'm learning from them. But in Central Florida here, I spend a lot of my time helping others, and a lot of people look to me as a thought leader and trying to lead, and even my staff. If I curled up in the corner under my desk in the fetal position, that would not be mentally helpful for my staff or the other people.
Don't let them see that.
I try not to let Sam see that.
Right. So
Tom will be like, "Get out of the get out from
get
under
up.
your desk." Get out.
Right. So I
Sit at
think
your desk before Sam's getting here.
Stop crying.
So I think that setting the tone is very important. That I believe in it. I believe in my own empowerment of the other people, and I believe in the vision of what the school or the band or anything else has created. So being able to stick to that and stick to that vision, adapt, adjust along the way is fine. But, ultimately being able to believe in it and set that example for others. But then there are times when I go, man, I've exhausted I love surrounding myself with people that are smarter than me in the room. We do a lot with, I partner a lot with the Recording Academy and these things, and get me somebody that I can learn something from, because I learn every day, and I want other people to not stop learning. I think most people, that their happiness, Reverend Peyton in Reverend Peyton's Big Damn Band said years ago, if you ever sit around and go, man, I'm bored as an adult that's in his 30s or whatever, if you ever sit around and go, man, I'm bored, you're probably a terrible human being. And it's basically meaning that there's so much to do out there and there's so many great experiences to have. sitting around on your butt, getting bored
Go
about
learn
the world.
something.
Yeah, go learn something.
yeah.
There's so many things to occupy your time and so many things that you can believe in. And so that's kind of where we're at, But you got to set the tone from the top down. But at the same time, you don't know what you don't know, and sometimes you don't get those lessons until they're 5 minutes, 5 minutes later than when you needed them.
Yep. Well,
that's
John,
true.
thanks so much for coming in. Again, where can people find the
Yeah,
GoFundMe?
if they want to help out.
So we do have a $100,000 fundraiser campaign going through the end of the month. We're getting close to our $20,000 mark. So
Nice.
we have had quite a few donors in Central Florida. They can go to the GoFundMe. Just go to GoFundMe and type in El Camino School. Our help fund El Camino will come up. We also are posting a lot of it on social media. So our Facebook and and Instagram is at El Camino School USA. And you can find out all of that stuff. And we're asking people, I know that no one donor is going to come in and save this day. But I think that's one of the biggest problems we keep running into is that they go, wow, they look at that $100,000 mark. They go, man, I can't do anything, so I'm going to do nothing. And it's really, we've been able to get to where we're at right now with a $10 donation, a $100 donation, a
Right.
$1,000 donation.
Small increments.
You got to
worth
think
it.
even
Yeah.
$1,000. We had one guy go, I can't give to you because it's not going to be a tax write-off. It's like, yeah, but $1,000 you might not be able to miss that, or $100, $25. We have so many great people in our community that have helped thus far, but it takes that kind of community to help build that. Those $100 bills have to add up to thousands and then tens of thousands. And so I don't want people to get defeated on the idea that how can one person help? I said the same thing one day of what can one person do? And now I look back at all the lives we've affected and the team that we've built and how we're able to resonate that out into our community and beyond now. That's a powerful thing. So if I would have said, one person can't make this thing happen, well, we would have never gotten out of the gate. So you have to have that belief, and every one person's donation or one person's contribution or even just one person taking a class, every one of those things add up to the idea of, and it's really, and even if people are listening going, John, I've never set foot in the school. I've never planned to set foot in the school. Well, why would I care? Well, we want to have something that our community can be proud of, and we want to be able to look back at this 10 years from now when I'm still coming on here and Tom's beard has grown, at least,
Well, I'll be dead. I'm dead.
But
AI Daniel is awesome.
I want to be able to look back at this and go, man, this was the time when everything changed, and everybody hunkered down. Because when I used to go to the arts and I used to fundraise, people go, I can't believe so-and-so is going out of business. And I go, well, did you ever go there? Did you ever? And they go, no, right. But I really wanted it to be part of my community. And that's kind of what Dan was talking about earlier. Living in a community, even if you're not participating, I don't go to soccer games. I'm just not that guy. But man, I love that Orlando City's here, and I'm so proud of that being part of our community. So regardless if I'm going or not, and there's a lot of people that ask for help. It's very humbling to ask anybody for help. So that's obviously what I'm here doing. Is I've exhausted all my resources. I've exhausted a lot of things. I am as a grown ass man, putting it out there saying, we're in a situation right now that for us to be able to continue, we do need help. And that's a very humbling thing in and of itself to be able to ask for help. But that kind of helps pave the way for the future.
Well, thanks, John. I appreciate it.
We appreciate it. And best of luck with everything. Let us know how it goes.
Again, he'll be the Bloody Jug Band will be at Fringe on May 29th, playing their kind of closing ceremonies.
And snag that new album, too. What's the name of the album?
The new album is called How to Train a Spooky Horse. Came out on May 13th. And 9 new tracks from the Bloody Jug Band.
Nice, man. Awesome.
We will see you tomorrow.
Got it.
We're a little long.
It should work. Nice job, y'all. Is it lunchtime now?
Yep.
All right, guys. We're going to lunch. We'll see you